Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. First of all, you guys know the drill. If you guys please smash that like button, I'd really appreciate it, because to leave a comment down below, I don't care what it is, it super helps the channel out. We are back in the shop. I wanted to give you guys another update. We are uploading like crazy lately, and we got lots of good stuff coming, and I'm super excited where the channel's heading. We got lots of subscribers, we got lots of views lately, and we are doing lots of cool stuff, and this channel is just growing rapidly. It's really making me really excited, so I just want to film as much as possible, but of course we have to work. So but here we are anyways. Last time in the last video I gave you guys an update on our 2006 Honda Accord Coupe that I unfortunately recently got into a car accident in. I wanted to give you guys another little update on that. Now, the last time I had it set up on the frame rack and we pulled out the initial frame structure. So here is an update. You can see here we are missing a few pieces. It's still set up on the frame pulling machine. Now, reason being is before I completely unhook it, because it does take a little bit of time to set up, I want to make sure that our rails are where I'd like to be. I did order a brand new core support for this. I got a new bumper rebar and many other parts coming for this. But before I completely take it off the rack, I want to make sure I'm done doing any pulling. As soon as I pull this rail off, I should be able to manhandle this apron and inner structure as well. I'm kind of back where I want it, but just in case I need some help from the frame pulling machine or with these rails up, down, left, right, anything like that, I'm just going to leave this on here for a little bit longer until we get that core support in hand, and that we actually have we kind of like about where everything is looking. That way, in case we got to pull one of these rails up, down, left, right, just a little bit, it might make it a little bit easier versus going, we got to set it back up on the frame machine and do a pull. So I'm just going to leave this hooked up a little bit longer, and then as soon as I find out I'm good to go, we'll go ahead and get it off this, and we'll just put it on the lift. That way, as I'm working on it, it can go up and down, and also out of the way for storage when we are working on customer jobs. We actually discovered we do have a broken transmission mount here. So the impact actually broke the casting on the transmission mount, and I kind of have it here to show you guys. Now you can see this mount, it actually knocked the transmission back a little bit and mangled this mount. You can see this mount is actually twisted here on the end, and this is supposed to be up in here, but we will be replacing this entire mount. Everything on the rail does look to be good, but first things first, I did take a Sawzall and cut off the ugly and got it out of the way. Cut the core support down there. We still have about 11 spot welds on each side of the frame rails. A few there, a few up on the bottom, a few here, and a few there. And this piece will come off, as well as the little piece right here. I went ahead and started kind of straightening out the end of the frame horn here, as well as this one was completely crushed in. So I started kind of straightening that out with our Porter Power ram set, but I still need to do a little bit of more work here. I might even apply a little bit of heat. See, we got a little bit of a tear there, so we'll be welding this all up and making this look just as clean as that side, of course. But before I can do too much of that, I got to get this piece out of the way. Over here, we are going to be removing this entire outer fender structure here, and as well as the rest of the core support. So this will be coming out, and then that way we can work with our apron, and we'll be getting a new outer piece as well. And same thing over here, we'll get that little scrap piece off this rail out of the way, and we will go ahead and knock the spot welds out of here. We'll slide this little last chunk of core support out of here, and we'll slide the new one in. After that, we'll get everything kind of squared up. Of course, we're gonna have to have all the parts and pieces once everything's kind of screwed down, and maybe like between tech screws, bolts, and vice grips and clamps. We'll make sure everything's in place. We'll go ahead and assemble the front end with the new fenders, hood, latch, bumpers, headlight, stuff like that. Make sure that we do have everything kind of where it needs to be, and before we do any welding. And then if we are happy, we'll make our adjustments. We'll go ahead and blow it back apart, weld everything up. Then from there, we'll go ahead and prep everything out. We'll get some silver paint back on it, and we'll go ahead and jam in all our new panels, and we'll go ahead and assemble it. And we'll probably go ahead and prep the rest of the car out for our full body and paint job, and we'll go from there. But first things first, just wanted to give you guys kind of an update. Here you can see most of the ugly is gone. So I'm going to be picking away at this. Anytime I get a spare few minutes or a spare couple hours, stay a little late here and there, come a little early, but we will be picking away at this each and every day until it is finished and out of here and back on the road. So there you have it. That is the Honda Accord update. I'm going to pick up the boat at the house this weekend, and so I got to take my truck and trailer home to pick up the boat. So I do have the Del Sol tucked away, locked inside for the weekend, but I wanted to jump over here and show you guys what I got myself today. Sometimes you guys got to treat yourselves good. I've been in this industry a long time professionally, and I have a lot of tools and I've acquired a lot of tools over the time. Of course, owning my own shop now, I have a couple guys working for me and another once a week as well. And we kind of all, a lot of the guys will use my tools, and sometimes I'll let the neighbor use a tool here and there. Basically, my toolboxes have become more of a community box, and that's okay. You know, we got to get the job done, but sometimes it just doesn't go back where it needs to go, and tools just find their way missing, and you know how it is. So anyways, I have been starting to acquire some new tools to basically assemble myself a personal box for me. I've been in this industry a long time. I've had cheap tools, I've had expensive tools, I've had a little bit of everything, and I kind of know what I want. So I kind of wanted to assemble a full set of Snap-on tools. And by full set, I mean pretty much the basics and some of the nicer stuff. Snap-on is very, very expensive, and I don't recommend it to just anybody, especially someone that's just starting out young in the industry. But I've been in this industry a long time, and so I'm treating myself to some pretty good quality tools. If you put the price aside, the tools themselves are very good quality, made well, and are just awesome and great. So anytime I have a tool that I need and I go and I have a choice, I always tend to go with the Snap-on. So you take the price out of the equation. I just really do like the Snap-on tool line, but there's also plenty of other tools that are just as good, if not even better, for half the price, if not even less. But I have been putting together a Snap-on tool set, and of course this tool cart will be leaving, and all this is older stuff, and this is just one of my toolboxes, guys. This is just for light duty stuff like door panels, mirrors, bumpers, tail lights, stuff like that, to disassemble cars when they come in. But I've been putting together a few things in here. Now you can see here, we do have the 14.4 series of Snap-on. Really love this series right here. Now this is brushless, and basically it's just a angle grinder. So you can put some roll locks. You can also take off this attachment here and put on a mini buffing wheel, and it works great as a mini buffing wheel as well. It's variable speed on the trigger, also has a second speed, but you can see there, so nice to not have to use air and hear the compressor going. And I also, for each one of my batteries, I've gotten magnetic bases. That way you can just, wherever you're working, you can just stick it wherever you go. It's just super nice because you could just be working on something and lay it down versus setting it on the edge of your toolbox or counter or whatever you're working on, and they just tumble over. And you got to keep in mind, these are very, very expensive, and if you break them, they will not be cheap to replace. So we do have the brushless grinder there, 14.4. I also have the brushless impact. Now this is the 3/8. 14.4 utilizes the same battery, the same magnet. You can see here, just like that. I did put a boot on this one because it was going to be getting probably used and abused a little bit more than some of the others. And that way, when it does fall, if it does fall in an engine compartment or something, it has a little extra protection. So they do have a boot that goes on here. I don't think they supply a boot for all of the 14.4 tools. But there might be a few other ones, so I might have to obtain some of those. But I do have it on the 3/8, and this is really nice because instead of having the button where it goes left and right, the trigger just goes both ways. So you can really go reverse and forward really fast. And this 3/8 hits really, really hard, a lot harder than my DeWalt 12-volt system. It's almost a little overkill in my opinion, so I might have to also add a 1/4 inch in the future, or an impact driver. But this is a great tool, great for assembling engines, anything mechanically related, stuff like that. So I'm just going to stick that there. And we also have the drill as well. And this is brushless as well. And this does have the reverse forward trigger. So it's a little bit different than the impact. But you can see here you got your torque and you got your speeds. And it's very nice to have a drill. It's not a super high powered drill. It's not a weak drill, but I would say it's right in the middle. A great all-around drill, but it's definitely not anything crazy high powered, but it's also not very weak. It's a very good drill. So that is nice to have. Once again, I don't like having to pull out the extension cords or use the air sometimes. It's been super nice to be able to use this 14.4 system. Today, I spoiled myself, and as you can see here, you can see the box. I did get me a long neck, 1/4 inch drive ratchet. Now, it's a pretty bulky ratchet, and that is one thing I would say that's not my favorite thing on this, but it does utilize the 14.4 system. I got a magnet on the bottom of the battery as well. That is an add-on, and you can see there, same thing. The last time I did the clutch and the flywheel and the Jetta, I definitely thought, man, I really need a ratchet. And I almost went with the 3/8, but I already have the 3/8 impact, and I thought it might be kind of nice to have something that's a little lighter duty for zipping fenders, bolts like hoods, latches, stuff like that when you're dismantling a car. This is pretty nice, and everything does have an LED light on it as well, and this goes left and right. Now, I think they make a boot that goes over the end of this, but I'm not quite sure, so we'll ask next time Snap-on is here. But I treated myself to this today. Thought it was a great add-on to the collection. I have a good little variety. You can get carried away because they do make quite a bit of tools in that lineup, but I'm not going to just go buy everything. But maybe in the future I would add a 3/8 ratchet and maybe a 1/4 inch impact driver as well. But I'm definitely good on batteries. I have 4 batteries now. I had 3. 3's probably enough for me alone, but I had caught myself a couple of times needing another battery. So I'm like, ugh. So I have 4 batteries, so I definitely don't need any more batteries. You can buy the tools with or without the batteries. So we are set on batteries, and we are gonna go from there. And I also have a light from Matco. Now, this is the Matco light, but it is from Streamlight, but you can see it's dual labeled there. I paid a lot of money for this light, and I asked them, I wanted a light, and when it came in the box, it was obviously folded up like this, so the box really wasn't that big. And when I got it out after he left, I couldn't believe how big this thing was. It almost looks like a lightsaber. It's insanely long. Now, don't get me wrong, it's a nice light. It has the LED. It has the LED a little bit less bright, and then it also has the daylight, which simulates natural light, and also has your UV as well, and that's actually pretty nice for leak detection and stuff. But very nice light. It is rechargeable, of course, and it is magnetic, and that is one thing I really like when you're working under a hood or something. You can really stick it underneath and have it, but it's so long that it also just seems like it gets in the way, and I've knocked it over 500 times. Not a very good light for using underneath a dash necessarily, although you can fold it, but like I said, you can fold it, but then the button's hidden, so you can make it shorter. But I will say the smaller version of this light is probably the better way to go, but in my opinion, it would almost be nice to have both. Very nice light, very expensive. It also has a little hook that you can hang it as well, but we've never really actually used that. But it is nice that it has a built-in magnetic base, but the smaller version of this is probably what I recommend. But there it is from Streamlight. It's the Stinger Switchblade. It is literally like a lightsaber. It is so freaking long. My only complaint is that and the price. Very expensive for a light. I think it was just shy of 200 bucks. I checked Amazon right after, and it almost looked like you can get 2 of them for that about same price. So it's a little bit disappointed in Matco there. I think I got taken for my money a little bit, but it is a very nice light. And you can see here, I just have my full screwdriver set here. We got our Phillips, and they're just kind of dusty, but these literally have never even been used yet. I'm kind of waiting to get a new toolbox to set everything up, but for now everything's just kind of sitting in here. You got your standard sizes, a little bit longer. You got your number 3s and stuff like that. I also got the minis, super nice. And you got your smaller standard number 2s there. And we also got some stubbies, and I got this little pocket screwdriver as well off the truck. And it comes in this nice kind of kit that you can inlay in your toolbox. So at some point when we get a bigger box, this will look pretty nice. But we will be setting everything back in here for now. And also, guys, with the 14.4 system, it was kind of cool. They make these snap-on radios. I've actually had this for a couple years. It's a little Bluetooth radio, super cool for the shop. It utilizes the same 14.4 system, and you can put a magnet on it, and you can literally stick it on the wall or on the vehicle you're working on. Great for just grabbing if you're working on something outside in the shop. It's great for indoor, outdoor use. It does have a little charging USB port on the back as well. It was fairly inexpensive. I think it was around $100 for the radio itself with no battery. So it really all wasn't that bad. And it's a great little radio. I don't use it often, but when I do use it, it's nice to have. So that was kind of cool to utilize in the 14.4 system. And there you guys have it. Up here in the next drawer, you can see here, I have some bits for my grinders. And this is my little die grinder. I have it set up as a cutoff wheel. Right now, you can see there I need a new disc there, but this is pneumatic, of course, but always nice to have a good cutoff wheel, and that is from Snap-on. I've had that for a little while now. I do have some Snap-on mini side cutters, and everything's just coated in dust here, but these little mini cutters are very nice, very sharp. Also have this 12-volt test light. It's cordless, so super nice, kind of utilizes your body as the ground. But that is super nice for quickly checking fuses and stuff for power. You can see here we have our rubber insulated and rubber coated handled 1/2-inch drive ratchet. Never even been used yet. We have our 3/8 and our 1/4 inch. I had the 1/4 inch first, and ever since I got this, I loved it so much. It was so smooth and so nice. That I just had to get the other additional ratchets to go with it. And a big reason why I like these rubber handled ratchets and stuff is when you're working around fresh paint and you're in the door jamb or by a fender or whatever you're potentially by, these rubber plastic coated handles are really nice, because if you do kind of tap the paint, they're way more forgiving than a steel coated handle. So they are a little more fragile. They do get beat up, they do get really greasy. So if you are careful, you can see this one's got a couple little marks on it. They are just fine, but like I said, these are my body tools. So I did get the ratchet there. And you can see here we do have our full metric and standard wrench sets. We have 5/16 all the way up to 7/8, and we have our 10 millimeter all the way up to 19. And I also have a couple additional sizes down there as well. I got an 8 and a 7. We will probably be adding on to that, and it came in the case as well. Unfortunately, this case won't work if I want to add the other sizes in it, but at some point maybe we'll find a different way to lay out our wrenches. But you can see these wrenches are brand new. I think I've used a couple of them, and that is it. Just literally coated in dust. But super pumped to be assembling a new set of tools, but these tools are not cheap, so I'm just slowly building it up over time. I'm not going to go too crazy, but over time we'll be getting a new chest here soon with a hutch, and we'll be setting up our tools. Super nice. I can't wait to show you guys. So every couple of weeks I buy something or so off the truck. I stay within a certain range. I don't go over $500. And then I probably don't buy anything new until I get to $100 or less. So I keep in range and I keep it realistic. And like I said, we work and then I treat myself to that a little bit. But we are gonna be setting up pretty much a full set of Snap-on, and we might build around that with a different brand as well. So we are gonna jump inside the spray booth and show you guys. I'm sure you guys can tell by the thumbnail, but we do have the Nova painted. Now this paint is still technically soft. It is dry to the touch, but I just sprayed this a couple of hours ago, and it's still technically curing. But you can see here, we just did a hot rod black, which is what we did on the rest of the vehicle and the inside and the jams as well. The vehicle was pretty much body worked and primered, so we were able to block it out and get a pretty good surface to paint on. So we didn't want to use real car paint because the car just really isn't quite worth that at this point. We would have to do a full metal steel restoration. The same would have to get sandblasted, hit a rotisserie, thousands of dollars worth of steel, and go from there. But that's not what we're doing with this car. We're making it a hot rod, we're making it to drive, we're making it to have fun. But just wanted to show you guys an update that the body of the car is painted. So super pumped on that. We're just gonna let it kick and cure for a little bit longer. We've already painted all the jams in the interior. So there you guys have it. Super pumped on this. So now we're gonna let this kick for the weekend. We'll unmask it and we'll go ahead and get it ready for assembly. I'm gonna pick up some new hardware and we'll get it ready for assembly. Like I said, the fenders, the hood, the trunk, everything's already painted. We still have a few pieces to paint, but I'm gonna show you guys over here real quick. Here is one of the fenders. Now you can see here, I already have a brand new Nova emblem, just dusty, but brand new Nova emblem popped on there. I got a new trunk emblem, new fender emblems. We got over here on my toolbox, we have brand new door handles. So those can go in quickly next week. We got left and right door handles, and those came with new hardware and gaskets. We also got a new lock cylinder set for the both doors, glove box, and trunk, and also came with new keys and all the gaskets and stuff to put them in. So super pumped on that. And we also have a bushing set here that will kind of like put some fresh bushings and rubber in the door jams, the glove box jam, core support, stuff like that, trunk jam. But we do have some new rubber bushings and stuff for assembly. We also have a new core support rubber bushing that kind of goes between the frame rails and the core support. The core support's already painted, ready to go on. So essentially this thing's pretty much ready for assembly. We do have a couple more parts to paint, which I'll probably squeeze in the booth sometime next week. It'll probably take me an hour, and we'll go ahead and get these inner wheel wells painted, and we'll get those painted. Same thing, satin black. And we have a trim piece for the front, as well as the radiator cover and battery tray and a few other little odds and ends as well. So super pumped on getting that painted, finally getting it assembled. I just want to get it fully assembled, glass back in, and we might take a little bit of a break on it until the Honda's fixed, and then maybe early spring we'll get back to the Nova, and we have a whole bunch of new parts and we're gonna get that thing assembled. But let me know what you guys think in the comments about the Nova. You guys like it, what you guys want to see, what would you guys have done with it. Yeah, like this video, leave a comment down below. I literally do not care what it is. If you guys can just leave a comment, thumbs up, thumbs down, hate it, love it, I don't really care. If you guys haven't yet, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one.
Ooh, like LeBron though, or like Bonzo. Ooh, I'm a baller, yeah, shot caller, yeah. They love me, you can't touch me, nah, can't trust me. I'm too lucky. Look at me, look at you, what you see, what you do.